Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, welcome again to New York Talk. It's great to have everybody with us, as always. We have got a good game to talk about. We've got a 3-0 home win to talk about, and I don't think, well, I'm sure we'll find something to grumble about. Well, there can't be much. And then we look ahead to Cheltenham Town on Saturday afternoon. We're live on YouTube, so if anyone wants to comment in, send us your comments in, topics to cover, that type of thing. Otherwise, don't worry about it. We have Mick with us, as always. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Danny back with us again. Thank you, Danny.
Hello, always a pleasure to be here.
And Will, back after a week or so back. You're back with us as well. Thank you for joining us.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me back. Thought I'd get kicked off after having a week off, but here we are.
That's it, yeah.
To do a lot worse than that, mate, to get kicked off.
Is that why Ben's not been back?
Yeah. He's a big city boy now, mate. He's a big city boy and living in smoke. That's what can you say?
So yeah, let's get on with football. 3-0 home win. Not much to complain about. We'll go back to Steve. Steve's emailed us again, and we really appreciate this, Steve. He's talking about shot accuracy, and we talked about last episode about how poor the shot accuracy was against Crewe. He points out that on Tuesday it was 42% our shot accuracy, and we scored 3 goals. What a surprise! We hit the target and we scored goals. Who would have thought that happens, Nick?
Well, I'm shocked as anybody, to be honest. It's it was a much better performance overall, weren't it? A lot more composure up there, I think, on Tuesday night. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good that the figures are heading in the right direction. You start looking at these stats, and Will is obviously a lot better at it than I am, certainly. But it's nice to see him going in the right direction. And it's nice to see that we're at the top of that expected goals table, which in and of itself means absolutely nothing. But when you put it together with everything else, then it shows that there's some progress being made. Yeah,
definitely. Let's talk about the game itself. The first 20-25 minutes, Will, was very, very bitty. There was a couple of injuries. The game was very, very stop-start. It felt like Wimbledon came to do the trick of stop Rotherham from playing football. And for that period of time, although we did all right, it did stop the game coming anywhere near what we wanted it to start with.
I mean, in fairness, I thought Wimbledon started the game really well for the first 15 minutes or so. Thought they played the ball, with intent, between the midfield quite well, without really going on to create any real opportunities off the back of it. I know they're struggling in the striker department for a number 9. You could see that throughout the whole game, to be honest. That 15-20 minutes at the start of the game was probably their best spell in the game. Nothing really came of it, and we kicked on from there, which I'm sure we'll talk in a lot more detail about.
Definitely. Yeah, did you agree, Danny, that although it was Wimbledon's best spell of the game, there was never really a threat on the goal?
I think, like Will says, Wimbledon did start the game very strongly. You could tell they'd come here going, right, we need to try and hit them early, and they did to a point. But yeah, in terms of goal threat, they only really had one really big chance at goal, and that was in the second half when they just sort of played through us and got behind our back line, and luckily their striker fizzed it wide. But other than that, I don't think Victor was particularly busy in terms of like goal saving, saves really. But my main area of concern was Woody's injury in the first half, because it happened right in front of where I was sitting, and it was like, oh no, he's out. I thought you were out cold personally. You know what Wood's like? It takes a lot for him to be knocked out, let alone go on the floor. And it turns out it were an elbow crack in his jaw. Like, I think it was what was that, number 19? Were it Presley?
Aaron Presley.
Yeah, he's come in with blind elbow and cracked him one, and and he did it to Michael Inekwe in the second half as well. So I don't know how he was still on the pitch, but
their manager claimed that were a penalty. the foul, the thing on Woody.
How's it out?
I don't know.
Don't agree then, Dan.
No, it wasn't a penalty because he struck Wood and then fallen over him. Anyway, I've got better review than he has anyway. But Wimbledon started well, but they never really challenged. I think it's because they played to our strength. Like, we like a side that attacks us. We don't like a side that sits back. So because Wimbledon came to attack us, we just went, all right then, hit them back and eventually put 3 past them.
Yeah, we'll start talk about a couple of negatives first. This is a harsh negative, Mick, because we kept a clean sheet. But Michael Hickory came in for Joe Mattock. The only decision that could be made, there was nobody else really that could play their bowler at a stretch, but you would say that's unlikely anyway. And he didn't have the best of nights, Hickey. He misplayed. Look at the stats afterwards, it didn't add up, but it felt like he misplaced loads of passes. His couple of clearances went stray and put us back into danger. It's weird that it's a defensive position, but he did look out of position. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a player who was playing out of position, who hadn't played for a couple of games, and maybe a bit out of touch. Is what he looked like. I know he's got his critics as a key. I'm not entirely sure why, but he has his critics. He's playing out of place, and he didn't have a great game. The stats tell a different story, don't they? He made some mistakes, some obvious ones, one of which nearly did put us in danger in that second half. That the ball that flashed across the front of the goal came from a mistake from him. It's difficult. I'm not going to criticise him, and I'm not going to criticise him because, like I say, he's been out for a couple of games and he's playing out of position. He's a right-footed player playing on left, and he did look like that at times.
Yeah. But like I said, kept a clean sheet. We'll move on to some more positive defensive performances in it. Let's start with the first goal. Shane Ferguson, who came back into the team starting 11, put a stunning ball in for Will Grigg. Absolutely stunning ball. That was the first goal scored by a Rotherham player wearing the number 9 shirt in the league for 1,039 days. Jamie Proctor against Sheffield United was the last one in 2018. It's hopefully, that's the start of many from Will Grigg, because it was a little. The cross was stunning, but the finish itself was a really lovely, tidy finish into an area keeper's not getting anywhere near.
I mean, Grigg is a goal scorer, and it's just as simple as that. And the header was just that absolutely sumptuous ball from Ferguson. You'll probably not get a better ball into the box than that, and Griggy put it away, and that'll be the first of many. I think I have had him as the league's top goal scorer, so he's got a way to come back as of yet. But listen, the guy's a goal scorer, and he'll get chances at this club. We've shown that already. We didn't create, I don't think, as much as we normally do on Tuesday night. Make of that what you will, but overall, keep those chances coming in, and he will score goals, no doubt about it.
I was massively impressed with Ferguson, Danny. The assist itself speaks for itself. Watch the highlights, you can see. I think Ferguson, when he celebrated, I think he almost celebrated his cross before he celebrated the goal. It was that good. But that's different from a bowler, isn't it? Shane Ferguson is the finished article he's going to be, and he's got all these really good attacking tools. And against a team like that gives you a bit more when they came out, because they came at us for part of the game, it allows Ferguson to have so much more freedom and do these type of things that are just brilliant for the team.
Yeah, and I think most of it comes down to Ferguson's experience. He's got a lot more experience, both at this level and the level above, than Bowler does. That's not a dig at Bowler by any means, because I think when he's come in, he's been excellent. But yeah, that inch perfect cross from Ferguson just goes to show that he's been doing that for the best part of 15 years, like 10, 15 years he's been doing that. But the one thing I want to touch on, which I missed in my match report, which I've been kicking myself about, is the one-touch football beforehand. Like, it was, watching the highlights, it was beautiful to watch. It's a throw-in, 1, 2, 3, Ferguson, touch, ball in, goal. It was the best piece of football I've seen Rotherham play, which you've highlighted that wasn't the best game in terms of us creating serious chances. Because I think that was the biggest serious chance created that came from open play, because Smith's goal came from a corner, and then his second goal came from from an absolute beauty of a free kick from Wiles. But yeah, like I said, Ferguson, I'd say, is a finished article. He might improve a little bit with us, but I think he's got that experience. He's got it on the international stage as well, and he just showed what he's all about and what he brings to the team, just with that cross, really.
Yeah, and it shows the versatility that we've got, because if we need to defend, Bowler's probably slightly better at it. But if you've got that freedom in the wing back role, you can chuck Ferguson. They chuck Ferguson. They play. I think it's one of the most experienced men in the team there. Chris Wright on the comments. Evening, lads. Our opposition manager, when asked about rather than being physical, actually said maybe, but also said how good we were in all the departments. An honest opinion. The first one. Yeah, but that wasn't a fantastic performance from us. We won 3-0, mate, but the Crew game was a much better all-round. Take away the goals. It was a better performance against Crew. I said, hit it target. It's so sounds the simplest thing in the world, doesn't it? It sounds, if you weren't a football fan and you heard somebody say, you just got to hit target, it sounds stupid, but it is simple as that at times.
Just think of what's going to happen when we put the two together. You know, it was a disjointed performance, like you've already said there. That's particularly that first 30 minutes. But then we took charge of the game, and whilst we didn't play the sort of free flowing football that we played at times against Crew, we were effective. We were very, very effective. Maybe it took us a while to work them out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, when we put that together, we said it. We keep saying it. Somebody's going to get an absolute pasting. No doubt about it. And just picking up what you were talking about with Ferguson there, you know, what an unbelievable position to be in. That, yeah, he's a really good player. He crosses the ball really well. He's a decent defender. But you know what? If he gets injured, we're not really fretting, are we? You know what I mean? We're not, well, we'll just bring Bowler back. You know, happy days. And if he's injured, well, Miller will do a job there. You know, it's like, and it's virtually across the board that we can do that now. So, and one more, Will Griggs' goal. It was a bit Alfie-esque. Reminded me of Alfie. That it's that sort of goal that Alfie would have scored, just pulling off that back defender and nodding it back across goal. So, it reminds me of Alfie a little bit. I'll be honest.
Is that because he's not quite tall?
Probably. That's probably all it is, because Alfie didn't really work that hard, did he? But in terms of his ability in front of goal, sorry, Alfie. It didn't work as hard as Greg does. But I'm just thinking, you know, in and around goal, in and around the penalty area, it's that type of player.
Yeah. John C. mentions Shane Ferguson's serious bonus for the Millers. A lot of clubs that could have signed him, he chose to come to us, which I imagine there would have been a lot of clubs in for him. It'd be stupid not to, really. Yeah, it was very good. It was decent, very good performance overall. Could have been better though, Will. Is that, like Mick said, for you, is that a good thing? It's obviously a good thing. We didn't play amazing, but we've beat Wimbledon, no mugs. This is not Donny who are struggling. They've had a decent start at Wimbledon, and to beat them 3-0 is a real sign of intent.
Yeah, Wimbledon have been a side that have caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams. That's the reason that they've scored as many goals as they have this term, and they missed a couple of players on Tuesday night, which probably hampered them a little bit. Hartigan's had a really good start to the season. For example, he didn't play. Asal as well. His pace was really missed, I thought, from their perspective. But it's a sign of a good side to not play especially well and still come away with 3 points. And those are the sides that are fighting at the top of the league at the end of it. And to be honest, today I've spent some of my day speaking to a lot of fans from League One, talking about who's been the best sides that they played in the first 10 games, and we're coming top of most teams, which is testament to the effort that we put in already. We're a side that is notoriously, a side that doesn't start well in League One. So for me, that's a massive improvement, and if we can continue to build on this, we're in for a really, really strong season.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think you're right. I hope you're right. Russ Vernon, let's move away from the goals for a minute, because we've got 2 more Smith goals to talk about. But Russ Vernon, hi lads. Ollie Rathbone was his man of the match on Tuesday. Don't think he stopped running. He thinks Ferguson was a close second. Ollie Rathbone, Danny. I've never seen somebody run around a pitch so much in an effective way, and I've never seen somebody dispossess the opponent or win the ball off the opponent as many times as they give. He's top of the list for League One now for most tackles won, and I could not be less surprised that he's top of that list because he's just everywhere all the time.
Another Forest performance for Ollie, isn't it? Just running everywhere. I don't know how he does it, mate. I don't know how he runs full pelt for 90 minutes. That's like you see some footballers, even like we're probably one of the fittest teams in this division, but he might be our fittest player. It's like he just doesn't stop running. I think he must have like a bottle of nitrous in his sock or something because he just does not stop running. But yeah, another man of the match performance from him. I think it might be his second or third man of the match. Might be second in a row, potentially. Yeah, and yeah, it were another stellar performance from him. He just doesn't stop running. He's always hungry to win the ball back after he's lost it, which is what you want to see from a Rotherham player because he sort of embodies our club ethos of an hard worker. It's like you see some footballers, they lose the ball and oh dear, and then it just leave it to the midfielders or the defenders to mop up. But with Ollie, when he loses the ball, you just see that little sparkle in his eye of, right, I'm going to go and win it back. And he does, and then creates a chance from it. But yeah, like Russ says, Shane Ferguson, maybe a second, but I think one that's gone a little bit under the radar is Edmonds Green. I thought he was solid. If it wasn't going to be Oliver, it'd been him who would have won man of the match because he very rarely put a foot wrong, if at all. And he's come in really well on that right side of the defence. And some of the tackles that he won were really smart. He never dove in too hard on some players. He was calm and calculated in winning the ball and playing it out from the back. So yeah, you've got three people there who could have won man of the match. And I don't know how they choose them. It must be like a lucky dip or a hat or something. It's like, right, those three names are in, right, pick one out. But yeah, there were a lot of good performances on the pitch on Tuesday. And Ollie Rathbone was one of them, as per, because I think as soon as he's come into the first team, which was his first start against Sheff Wednesday? Or was it the game after?
I think it was the game after. I think he came on against Wednesday. I don't think he started.
So is his first start against Doncaster?
I think it would have been, yeah. Or we played Morecambe. We played Morecambe a week after Wednesday.
Yeah, Morecambe.
Yeah. So but yeah, since he's come into the first team and cemented his place a regular starter, he's been putting in 8 out of 10 performances every single game, which at this level is something really hard to do because everyone says we're a big physical team. It's a big physical league. You know, like League One is more of a physical game than the Championship. It's less about how fancy you are on the ball. It's more about not like who's the biggest physical team, because if you've got a bit of flair on the ball, you do well. But you've got some teams in this league who are busy and physical. Ollie's not busy and physical, but he plays like he is, which makes him look even better. You know, he just runs everywhere, wins the ball, creates chances. What more could you ask for?
I just want
to touch on... also. Go, mate.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch on that stat of Ollie winning the most tackles so far in League One. He's also top of the most defensive duels in League One, and that's not just for midfielders. That's for including defenders as well. So that shows how incredible Ollie Rathbone has been defensively. If I can challenge Ollie Rathbone, if I may. We've seen now that his defensive side is incredible. If we can start to see more of a goal output out of him, Jesus Christ, what a player have we got at this football club. And we've started to see, I mean, he got his first goal against Crewe at the weekend, and he's getting forward and getting into some great positions. But yeah, just wanted to sort of throw that in there. And Danny, I think you've actually done him a disservice. I don't think he's been a 7 or 8 out of 10 in each game that he's played. I think he's been a 9 or a 10. And I think, he's just a player that's just getting better and better in understanding the system. His fitness, for me, was always good at Rochdale anyway, but it feels like Warney's come in and said, I'm going to make you the fittest player in League One. And he said, yeah, I don't mind that challenge. He absolutely loves it, doesn't he? And you touched on Edmonds Green there. For me, his maturity on the ball, the way that he defended so calmly, reminded me of a certain Icelandic guy that retired with a title. And if we've got any sense at all, we need to be trying to push that envelope at Huddersfield and make sure that's a permanent deal.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about this on Tuesday, Mick, that for me, Rathbone was brilliant, but Reg didn't do anything wrong all night. He read the game superbly well. He just did everything really, really well. But it makes a question mark. It puts a big question mark because that's Icky's position. It has been Icky's position.
Yeah.
And now Icky's lost his position. So if Icky's not getting back in, is he, realistically?
Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He may well end up on that left-hand side. We'll see how it pans out. It's a real headache, isn't it? It's a real headache. It's interesting that you talk about with Ollie Rathbone. All these managers telling us how big and physical and bullying the kind of side that we are, and the stats in terms of our most physical player, if you like, stack up for Ollie Rathbone with the defensive duels won, the tackles won, the yards that he runs and everything else. And he's 2'6" and 3 stone wet through, isn't he? It's like we're a big physical side. Have you seen who our most physical player is? Have you seen the size of him? It's madness, isn't it? But I think we're going to have to. I said this to you on Tuesday night. I think we're going to have a man of the match award and a second man of the match award, so that give everybody else a bit of a chance. Because if he carries on playing like this, he's going to win it every week, isn't he?
One of the things that impresses me about him is that he doesn't give many fouls away. Because with a player like that, you'd expect to give loads of fouls away, give a couple of silly bookings away. He clearly, obviously does, but it doesn't feel like he fouls people. He just wins the ball or pressures them into giving the ball away. And that's even better than somebody who just presses and fouls, because if you foul him, you release the pressure. Where he didn't allow him to release the pressure, and it's such a. Oh, I just love him. I love him already. He's been here a couple of months, and we're all in love with this guy. Yeah, it's brilliant. Reece Killick points out Rathbone, as mentioned before, reminds me of Frecklington. Work ethic, non-stop running. I think we all agree with that. Elizabeth doesn't stop running for 90 minutes. If he continues for a full season, he'll be everybody's player of the year, Reece. Everybody's.
Yeah.
It's about, with that type of play, it's about keeping fit. Frecklington, towards the end of his career, did struggle with fitness. And was that because he was such a combative player that is going to come back and bite you on the backside later in your career? Rathbone's still a young kid, so he's still got a lot of time to play with that. Any other Rathbone chat we want to have before we talk about the rest of the team?
He's certainly got the potential to be better than Lee Frecklington, hasn't he? He has. And a bit disappointing day for me, that, to be honest, because Lee Frecklington is one of my all-time favourite Millers, to be honest. But on the flip side of that crown's there to be taken, isn't it? So crack on, Ollie.
Yeah. One last one, Ardok. Think about that's all about timing from Rathbone. And was he that good at Rochdale? The stats say he was. I don't recall him at Rochdale, but the tackles won column that I've already mentioned, he was second in tackles won in League One last season for Rochdale for the entire season. It's top away. So, yeah, that's the type of player we've got. And that's why they signed him. That's clearly why they've signed him, to be fair. So credit where credit's due to the recruitment team. Moving on to the second goal of the night, which was Michael Smith's first of the night. It was a little bit of just a simple corner routine. Mick, I'm going to come to you because for the first 40 minutes or whatever it were, all the corners were rubbish, or mostly the corners were rubbish, and they kept going deep. Go on, Mick. I'll let you talk. Talk your 3 point.
No, I said to you that they're just playing with these. They're just playing with them, and there's going to be one coming here, and it's just going to either go straight in or it's going to be an absolute pearler. I cannot believe that we're knocking them deep, just as a bit of a ruse. I can't believe that for a second, because you don't know how many corners you're going to get. But it was almost on time, when it were almost perfect. 3 corners, all deep or too deep, and didn't trouble anybody. And then I guess they're expecting another deep one, and all of a sudden up pops Smithy at near post, loses his mark. Have you seen his run? The run that he makes to get to that ball is just fantastic. Obviously, it's been worked. That is a corner routine that they've been working on, and yeah, he executed it perfectly. So I think I'm going to take credit for spotting the fact that we did them there. We did them over big time.
Yeah, you spotted it, did you?
Yeah.
It's an important time for a goal, Will. It's a really obvious thing to say, but to go ahead at half time is brilliant. But to get that second goal before half time, it really does kill the opposition, especially away from home.
Yeah, I mean, just for any opposition fans that might watch this tonight or elsewhere, Michael Smith is rubbish. You don't want him. Like, he's the worst strike you've ever seen. Yeah, great timing for a goal. What I like about Smudge is now his ability to pop it up in the right areas. We've seen him in the past running those channels really well, but in Michael Smith this season, we've got a player that's had the most shots on goal. We have the player that's had the most touches in the penalty box. And I think he's going to learn quite a lot from Griggy in terms of his movement. What I liked most about his goal, his first goal on Tuesday, was the movement, the intelligence to get to that front post and flick it on. Great header, 2-0, game over at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. He got 12 last time in League One. He's already at 7. So his top scoring season so far of his career was 18 in League One with Swindon in 2014. He's going to be challenging that if he keeps going the way he's going. Because then, Danny, later on, we put on more performance talk about 89th minute. Again, Shane Ferguson's ball stunning was stunning for the first one. The ball from Ben Wiles for the third goal was almost as good. And for Smithy just to take it out of air like that and then just finish comfortably. He likes to do his Alan Shearer celebration coming off, but
yeah,
that's the type of goal he score.
I mean, I thought the ball in from Wiles from the free kick was good where I was sat just behind the goal, but watching the replay, it's even better. The ball does not move; it doesn't have a single ounce of spin on it at all, and then Smith just goes touch, bang, easy as that. It's one of the best. I mean, Smith's goal against Morecambe was one of the best goals that we've scored. But in terms of a goal from a dead ball situation, that's probably one of the best goals we've scored this season as well. Just from the assist from Wiles and the take from Smith and the finish, because it was a very calm, composed finish. And it's like Richie said in his pre-match today, Smith could have got a hat-trick easily against Wimbledon. And the guy on commentary kept saying, there's nothing like the bite in the hand that used to feed you. It's like, yeah, but you know, it was a really good performance from Smith, and the second goal was testament to that, because it wasn't quite like a complete dead ball situation, not like Wiles has scored from the free kick, but it's the tech from the free kick which makes it even better, because to have that ability just to tech it without effort like that, that's something that you see top end of the Championship in the Premier League. Some players at that level can't even do that. So to score a goal like that, I think it were better than Lionel Messi's against Man City, to be honest.
Yeah. Still, Michael Smith rubbish. Don't listen to all this hype, guys.
Yeah, listen, there's only a reason he's with us is because Bury went bust. We were going to send him back. So he's garbage, man, honestly.
Did anyone see the meme in pre-season of what's his face from This Is England when he's got the machete? Do you ever seen that in pre-season? Where it's like, get your hands off him now. That will be Paul Walker by January, I'm telling you.
It will be. Yeah,
that was so funny.
That's the only downside, Mick. If there was already interest in August. I think he's got 12 by January the 1st. It would be best piece of business in years to keep him.
Yeah, it would, and I think we will. I'd be very, very surprised if it goes in January. Very surprised. I mean, is he one of the players with his contract up in summer? I can't remember. Yeah, I'll be amazed. Unless somebody comes in with 5 or 6 million, we'll talk to you in summer. Because if we are, well, it depends, doesn't it? Because if we get promoted, maybe he'll want to stay with us. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Warney said in an interview that he's worth 10 million quid to him and is irreplaceable. And I think in January, you know, the price just goes up and up and up, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't think if they weren't willing to pay 1.5 million for him before in this summer window, they're not going to pay the levels that we'll need to for him to leave this football club in January.
No, absolutely.
Hopefully, I could be wrong, but I mean, yeah, we've just got to sit back, drink it in, take it in, and just enjoy it for what it is, because this is a really special footballer that we're witnessing.
Yeah, completely agree. Ben Wiles came on. We mentioned Ben Wiles didn't start. He came off on 58 minutes. The big blow of the night, really, Will. Jamie Lindsay coming off with a hamstring injury. He was out in January early this year for around 8 weeks or so with a hamstring injury. It didn't look good. And the signs are, there's nothing official from the club, but it doesn't look good. You'd assume, from what Paul was saying, that it could be a fairly lengthy layoff. That's around 8 weeks, you'd assume, again, roughly.
Yeah. I mean, 8 weeks is probably about right, I think, between 6 and 8. And Jamie will be really disappointed because obviously he started the season and then dropped out of the team and was just sort of finding his way into the team again on Tuesday and obviously got that knock. So disappointing for him. And, you know, I wish him a really speedy recovery, as I'm sure the rest of you do. But from us, you know, it's next man up. I'm really excited to see Hakeem Adoffin step up and see what he can do from, you know, glowing references over in Scotland. So, you know, we've got a great midfield. We've got people that can fill in, and you know, it's disappointing for Jamie, but we go again.
It's interesting, when we lost him in January, it was a massive blow to us because he was the only one that did what he does. Now we've got a couple of people who can do a similar sort of role. Rathbone could do that sort of job as well, maybe not defensively. Mark a man out of a game like Lindsay can, but certainly fill in for that role. And like I say, I'm looking forward to seeing Adoffin. I'm in a way disappointed we haven't seen him, but you can't argue with it. If you're Adoffin, you just got to be sitting there thinking, well, what can I do? You know, these guys in front of me are playing fantastically. He may well get an opportunity and it comes. I thought though Ben Wiles was really good when he came on. I was really impressed with Wiles again. In that more free role, that further roll forward, he's such a better player than when you've got the leash on.
Yeah, he is, and the reason he didn't come on until later on was because he was still feeling his dead leg from Saturday. But today he was still playing with a bit of a dead leg in his quad. He played really well. Like there were times where you sort of saw the limitation of it, where he wasn't quite as quick to the ball, he didn't quite want to put in a challenge for something. But overall, Wiles has come on, and fingers crossed everything's all better for Saturday. And I think if it is, he'll start Saturday. But yeah, it is a shame about Lindsay. And from what I've read on the pre-match stuff, he is like the angriest man at the training ground at the minute because he doesn't take being injured very well. But that's
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's the angry Scotsman that he is. You know, he was a really sweet and lovely bloke, but when something don't go his way, he has that Scottish fury behind him, which isn't a knock or anything. It's a string to his bow because he's got that natural fire in him. But yeah, it is a shame. Hopefully it's not a serious quad injury, but he's out 2 weeks minimum without even knowing the results of the scan. So which is a shame, but like you say, it gives Adoffin a chance for us, not only for us to see what he's like, but for him to put more of a stamp on the game as well and show why why we've signed him and why he's an asset to our team as well. But yeah, it also just goes to show, because we're not that worried about the midfield losing Lindsay, how good our depth is in midfield this season. Well, we've still got Rathbone and Wild, we've got Adoffin, Barlaser as well. So yeah, it's not a terrible loss, but it is a terrible shame for Lindsay, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it just goes to prove how good that recruitment was in summer. It was just the deeper we get into the season, the better that recruitment's starting to look. You know what I mean? As the players start to come on, as the team starts to gel together and develop, and as we start to get a few injuries, we started to think, hang on a minute, you know, we might have moaned that we only got 2 players in by, you know, with 2 weeks to go or whatever. We've come out the back end of that with just an unbelievable transfer window for me. Fantastic. Bear in mind, we're not spent out either, or next to no.
Well,
next to no. it's important to say as well. It's all well and good identifying the players and going out and getting them, and congratulations to the recruitment team for doing that. But it's then another thing to bring those players in and get the best out of them. So massive kudos to the management team for everything they're doing as well at the moment.
100%.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of not having to have a fire sale when you get relegated, because we can keep Barley's and the team. We can it's slowly integrate. Rathbundin obviously didn't start for the first few games. Udolphin's not even started yet, because we've got the players in there, so you can integrate them in through training and eventually bring them into the team. So it's with hindsight. At the time, we were all panicking a little bit, but right now there's close and joined up thinking, and it's looking like it's starting to pay off all round. Very impressive. Substitution for Will Grigg, 66 minutes. Freddie didn't come on. Coyote come on. We talked about this on the last podcast, that we thought that Coyote should get a chance because he's done nothing wrong when he has played. But it's a little. Is it a message? I'm thinking too much into this. Is it a message to Freddie to say, if you're going to do what you did on Saturday, if you're not going to put F in, I'm going to put this kid in who's going to run around for 20 minutes and do pretty well?
Maybe. I don't know. But there's been that message has been given to Freddie previously, hasn't it? So I don't know. And JJ deserves a chance because you're going to get 100% effort out of him. He's still very young. He's still very sort of naive at this level, I guess. Whether naive is the right word, I don't know. Inexperienced, perhaps. He's probably a better way of putting it. But maybe it is a message to Freddie. I don't know. I feel like I'm a Freddie basher, because whenever we talk about him, I'm not very positive about him. But I don't think he's going to learn from it. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I think it's been here too long. There's been too many of these opportunities or messages sent and giving him the opportunity to up his work rate, and he's not taken them.
So I mean, I've stayed very quiet on Freddie, to be honest, because as you said, Mick, I'm not a guy that likes to come out and dig players out. So if you delve into this a little bit more, look at Freddie's press, for example. If at this stage it's a tactical issue, if he doesn't understand the tactical situations that we're employing now, given the time that he's been at the football club, there's an issue there anyway. But I don't think it is that. So if you take away that, it's got to be his work ethic. The one thing that a footballer should always have beyond anything is to run and run and run for himself, for his teammates, for the fans that are there, that have spent their hard-earned money. I don't see that in Freddie. And I think Ladapo came on. He did not come on. JJ came on Tuesday and showed him up. Had a really, really strong game. I thought, caused them a lot of issues with his pace. But for a couple of, better balls into the box, I think he probably could have been rewarded with a goal at the end of it. But for me, he's striker number 3 at the moment. Freddie drops to number 4. And he's now got to go out and prove to us and the management team that he's good enough to get back in the side. And don't get me wrong, I would love nothing more than Freddie to prove us all wrong and come back and score the amount of goals that he scored before and have the fans back on side. But it feels a long way away at the moment.
It's very frustrating, Will, isn't it? I think it's like you say, it's not a bash at him, it's not a dig at him. It's just so frustrating because he has the ability in front of goal. He has the ability to pull an absolute worldie out of his bag. He has that ability there. He is a goal scorer. But the one thing that we've all got as footballers on this podcast, probably the only thing we've got as footballers is the ability to work as hard as you possibly can. And for a player who has got the ability that he's got in terms of technical ability, I find it incredibly frustrating, really, really frustrating, and a bit of a waste, to be honest.
I think in terms of the Crew game and the miss, it was a bad miss, but there were other players on that day that missed chances. So he was scapegoated a little bit from that, I would say. What I would say is, if you can't give the bare minimum, which is to run for yourself, for your teammates, and for your fans and for your management team, you shouldn't be in the side, and that's why he's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, as a striker, if a striker misses from 6 inches out or 2 feet out or whatever, you can't criticise a striker for doing that. You know, it happens. It happens to the best of them. Obviously, if he misses every single one from 2 feet out, then that's a different matter. But, you know, Freddie doesn't, you know, but it happens. You can't criticise him for that. And I wouldn't, and I haven't, and I'm not going to do it. There you go. I just want him to work. Come on, Freddie. For God's sake, man, come on.
Yeah, we all do. On JJ, though, Danny, it's put lots of positives when you see him play. And to be honest, he's in a really, really good position for learning, because he's stuck behind Michael Smith, who was one of the best strikers in League One at what JJ's quite good at, being strong and physical. And he's got one of the best strikers in League One, who's one of the best finishers in League One. He couldn't wish for 2 better players at this level to learn off.
Yeah, it's all sort of come together nicely for his first proper go at Rotherham's first team. It does make me feel a little bit old that now there's a footballer that's younger than me in the Rotherham first team, because that's never been the case before. But I think when JJ does get his first goal at senior level for Rotherham, whether it's in the cup or in the league or whatever, that it will have a smile bigger than Chio's, because it'll just show that all his hard work has somewhat paid off for him. And I think now that Ladipo falling out of favour seems a little bit harsh, but it's that way going on. Yeah. I think now that he's got that opportunity, I think he will try his absolute damnedest to try and get a goal or an assist or whatever. And he came on at Wimbledon and tried to do that. Like you say, a couple better crosses in, and he would have scored. And in front in the North Stand, you sort of like try and suck the ball in for him. You know, you try and bring it into the goal for him because you want him to score. But just touching on Freddie, I thought from his body language when he was warming up on the touchline that he wasn't going to come on. You know, because it again, like I say, it's not a dig or anything. We're not here to poke at Freddie saying you're not up to muster or anything. It's not like that. It's just that in terms of putting a shift in, he's dropped down to 4th. It wasn't the miss against Crewe that made him drop out. It was that bit towards the end of the half where he had the opportunity to sprint after the ball and didn't. And from what I saw, he was warming up. He had his hood up, kept his jacket on all the time. There was no real effort to try and warm up in the sense of coming on the pitch. So I think from his body language, that conversation had saying, you're not playing today. And whether or not that's different on Saturday, I don't know. But I think the conversation has been had that you need to be better. You need to pull the lead out your boots, really. Get the lead out your boots and go after the ball. And when he does that, hopefully we see the Freddie that we saw last time in League One, where he's popping him in left, right and centre, and he's really contributing to the season. Because he's scored twice, one in the league, one in the cup, and he's still behind Ben Wiles, who has scored 3 times. Is it 3 times? Yeah, 3 times in the league, and then Smithy, who scored 7 times. And I think as soon as Ladipo hits the ground running in all sense of the words, he will pick up and he will become a big contributor to this season. But as he is right now, like Will says, he has dropped to 4th striker, which is a shame for someone of his quality.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. JJ could do it games, and with the international break coming next week, when the Scunny game is, he could do it playing the Scunny game. I know he can't because he's got an international duty, but we could do him playing for Rotherham with Rotherham players, so he can get that goal. I suppose it doesn't matter, Mick, but it feels like, for me, it looks like it would be a psychological boost.
It would help him.
He's got to go play for international football, which is not a bad thing, is it?
No. I mean, no. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? I don't know what I'd choose if I were him, and it wouldn't be whatever it's called, this season trophy, would it? You know, so yeah.
Cool. 2 more quick points because we haven't talked about Cheltenham game yet, but there's so much to talk about on Tuesday. John C points out that another thing, 5 clean sheets so far this season. Will 5 clean sheets for what on 10 games, and to be fair, in the Crewe game and the Wigan game, those goals couldn't have come much later. So we weren't far off 7 clean sheets, which it's not just down to Victor. Victor has done a really good job, to be fair, but a defensive unit will look really, really good for the most part of the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as far as I'm aware, we're still the side that's conceded the least amount of shots. I need to double check on that, but and if someone's watching that can correct me, then feel free to do so. But we're not giving up a great amount of chances. We're winning our XG week on week, I think, compared to most sides. And we've got a really good makeup. Woody, I think he'll probably play until he's 60. And he's won 83% of all of his duels per 90 minutes, which is incredible, up there within the League One hierarchy, as it were. Edmonds Green, of course, getting better week on week, and whoever sort of fills in, whether it be Ihekwe or Harding or Mattock, of course. I have ultimate faith that they're going to be defensively solid, and if they do, then they've still got to beat an unbelievable keeper in Victor Johansson. So most amount of clean sheets so far in League One, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. I love it when he's successful because everybody else loves him like we do, and I like sharing the love with him. Dan Barlaser, Danny, I can't believe we've got 45 minutes in. We haven't mentioned Dan Barlaser really. There were so many times on Tuesday that he did a pat. I just went, wow, I can't believe he's done that. It was just some of the stuff that man can do with the football. I can barely dream that. It's just sensational.
Yeah, he has got a terrific foot on him and a terrific mind as well to see that path to goal and see a pass that you can make of a distance of 40 yards. I don't think I can kick a ball 40 yards, let alone make a pass that's 40 yards. So yeah, fair play to Barlaser. He's been another one that's been solid since he's come back into the team. And it's another boost to our midfield, having someone who's got not only the ability but the natural ability just to go, oh, there's a pass there, ping, 40-yard pass, easy as that.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you a question then, a very quick question. You look at that midfield three with Barlaser, Ben Wiles and Ollie Rathbone. What were you dropping to put Barry Bannon in there?
Jesus. Here we go.
Just asking.
Right, from a
genuine question.
From a footballing point of view, because it's not long until Ben Wiles is in the Scotland squad through his grandfather. That will come at some point. I think we'll start Wiles, but Bannon will come on after about 70 minutes, and then they'll switch.
That's it.
Yeah, and then they'll switch if it's a Tuesday night game straight after.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, that's going on SUFC hashtag straight away, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Hello.
Just a quick one, just on Barlaser. I just want to congratulate him on his latest assist, which of course is a brand new baby boy. So
I knew that would
be
his latest assist. That's brilliant.
Yeah, congratulations, Dan.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
for you. Moving on, Shrimps on lines with us. Evening, gents. I assume that's Morecambe. I suppose a shout out to Morecambe, the feel-good story of the League One so far this season. They've been fantastic up in 11th. And from a neutral point of view, when we play them, I'm not surprised they're doing it. I'm surprised they're doing it as well as they are, but I'm not surprised they're out of the relegation zone. We're impressed when we play them, and they've carried that on. They also ask, we'll feel this question while we're here, Will. What do you think the specific differences are between League One and Championship? For me, it's not far off just putting the ball in the back of the net, really. It sounds simple. But it's not far off that simple. From staying up anyway, to stay over the Championship.
I mean, firstly, welcome to Tom, and thanks for joining the chat tonight. I guess the main thing at the moment is we can win a lot more games in League One than we can in the Championship. But I mean, yeah, just touching on what you were saying, Matt, Morecambe have had an unbelievable start, and going to be a little bit of a a goal-scoring vie-off between Cole Stockton and Michael Smith soon. So, Tom, buckle up, get ready. We're coming for you, pal.
He says that we were the best team. We're the best team that's seen this year. We've had a few, like you mentioned earlier. Well, a few people have said that so far. Bear in mind, we're a team that doesn't start very well. That's a really, really good sign. Any other players you want to mention? I think we've probably mentioned almost all 11 and 3 subs so far. Is there any performances you want to touch on from Tuesday night? We've probably covered most of them, haven't we?
Chio.
I don't like Chio. I don't like Chio either. I would expect a tough game for Chio because that fullback kept him quiet last time 2 years ago, and he didn't manage to keep him as quiet this time, did he?
He had a really, really good game, I thought, Chio, but I am just willing him on to just get that goal number 2. Just like the effort that he had 25 yards from goal in the first half that just whistled past post, would have gave me so much unbridled joy. It's unbelievable. And then second half, like a couple of balls came into the box and the one that he absolutely scuffed. And it's like watching your child play football for the first time. And he threw on goal and there's a keeper that's just running out and he puts it wide and Chio, I'll happily be your dad if you want, even though there's a few genetical issues there. Genetical, is that a word? I mean, I'm talking gibberish, but I love him, man.
It's nice to have good players that are liking it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with Chio. I expected a tough game for him, but he did very well.
Yeah, he did, and I think his chances are just a case of if he wrapped his foot around it a bit more, they were in. But one final thing on Chio, hopefully before we move on to Cheltenham, is fair play to him to get him back in the Ireland squads after being out through injury. Fair play on that to him, and I hope he cracks on with Ireland. And bare minimum, I want an assist out of him.
Well, he's got a good couple of games. He's got Azerbaijan and Qatar. Qatar's a friendly. It's a good couple of games to go in for a player like him because he's an excellent player.
The way Republic of Ireland have been playing, if he doesn't get a start, that manager needs to have a look at himself because I tell you what, they have been dire, haven't they?
Yeah,
they have been awful. So he has to start. It has to start.
Yeah, we'll be watching. And we mentioned JJ and Cody. JJ and Chio. Shane Ferguson's been called up again for the Northern Ireland national, so hopefully he scores another banger like his last time out. He tried one. I know he didn't quite a banger, but he tried a good effort on Tuesday from him, which surprised the keeper, which were a very, very good effort. Yes, very, very good. Right, moving on. Cheltenham Town on Saturday afternoon. They come back off an absolute thumping, Mick, at Sunderland. We talked about this briefly before we started recording. It's always a concern, always a worry when you come up against a team who've just been battered. It can be a dangerous time to play them.
Yeah, it can. But they have struggled so far this season, haven't they? I mean, I appreciate that they are sort of halfway, aren't they, sitting mid-table, but we've got to concentrate on ourselves. We are better, in my view. We are better than any team that I've seen so far this season, either against us or the teams that I've seen playing on TV and what have you. So I don't have any worries about it. I don't see that they're going to have enough to cause us too many problems. And I'm not being a big head, not being big-headed about it or anything like that. I just feel that the way that we're playing, the level that we're playing at the moment, I would pit us against anybody in this division, anybody at all, no question. So I said that on the last podcast. I don't think there's a better team in this division than us. I genuinely don't, assuming that we play to our potential.
Yeah.
I've made a rod for my own back there, haven't I? You know what I mean? All I've done there is just made myself look a complete idiot because when we're 3-0 down on Saturday after 10 minutes, you know what I mean? But now I'm not too concerned about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, they've had the last 3 games is an issue. One was in the cup against Preston, but conceded 11 goals in the last 3 games: 5 to Sunderland, 2 to Wigan, 4 to Preston. If that's going to be a continuing trend, we can take advantage of it. If they're going to give us some chances, the chances are we're going to score a good few goals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading some stats actually on Cheltenham now, and I know that they've had an absolutely horrendous couple of weeks or so, missing a few key players through injury. Will Boyle, for example, hasn't played over the last couple of games or so. So not sure whether he'll be coming back in, but he's been a big miss. Just looking at the stats, they are the side that has conceded the most goals from set plays. So for us, an absolute joy to be playing against at the moment, especially if we can continue the quality of the ball that was coming in from Tuesday. Also, without the ball, they are the team that press the second least in the League One as well. So they're going to give us time on the ball by the looks of it. I guess the key will be having the nous and the players to be able to unlock those doors. So let's see what it brings.
Yeah, that's what we were touched on last episode. Our away form is much better. Going back to the start of League One last time, it's much better away form. So hopefully we can continue that. We only have one win ever away from home against Cheltenham, which was back in 1999. Steve Thompson and somebody called Paul Warne got the 2 goals that day. So it's not a happy hunting ground for us, Danny. But this is a new Rotherham compared to last time I played with 2012, I think something like that. This is a new Rotherham, and this positive way we not only a mindset from the players, but the way we play is a positive way as well.
Yeah, and it's one of them records where it's just asking to be broken. It was the same with Bolton. Now I don't think we'd beaten them since like 1990 or something, and then beat them 2-0. But with Cheltenham, it's one of them where Cheltenham seems to be the team that we've missed. Like as we've come down to League One, they've been in League Two, and then we've only really played them in League Two. So I might be wrong with this, but this might be the highest position we've played them at in terms of where we both are in the league currently.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
in terms of like overall English ranking. But yeah, like you've said, it's a very slippery slope playing team that's just had a tonking against the likes of Sunderland. Because even in the Premier League, when they've had a tonking against Man City, the same team doesn't get tonked again the next game against a different opponent because they've sort of sat down, shook themselves off and gone, how do we improve on that? So I don't think we're going to absolutely batter him, but like you've said, our away form ever so slightly eclipses our home form. And it's one of them games where if you watch how they've played against Sunderland, their defence is very standoffish. So it could prove fruitful for us going there, but at the same time, they like to sit off the ball, so that might give us a little bit too much time on the ball, and it could potentially be a Fleetwood just with like less goals conceded potentially, or hopefully, really. But yeah, it'll be a game where it won't just be Rotherham's going to win. End of discussion. I think Cheltenham will offer something that we're not expecting, which is why I'm not going to put my hat on it and say this is what they're going to offer, because I'm telling you, something will happen in that game and it will catch us out. Whether it's a chance that they miss or a chance that they score, something will happen that will go and we'll go, didn't expect that. Yeah. So that's why I'm looking forward to being at the pub for 8:45 to get on the bus for it.
Safe trips, everybody's going down to the Johnny Rocks Stadium, as it's now called, or Wooden Road to anybody else that's not interested in sponsorship names that take over the entire name. It's going to be a tough game, mate. It's League One. Every game's a tough game. What would you start with? We'll talk about us again. Starting 11, Jimmy Lindsay's obviously going to miss out. Who are you bringing? I assume you're bringing, but if Ben Wiles' dead leg's gone completely, you're swapping it for Ben Wiles and keeping same 11. The question of Icky.
At the moment, I mean, obviously Wes Harding's back, and Wes Harding is not been called up by Jamaica, has he, for these World Cup qualifiers? So, but he's missed the game, and Icky hasn't. So, for me, whilst he was shaky at times the other night, Hekwe, he's an experienced class defender, So Wes has got to fight for his place back now. He's got to wait and to get his chance for me. So Ben Wiles comes back, assuming injury free. If not, it's a Duffin. But the rest, same for me.
Yeah. IOC Ethan is back with us. Ray thinks Rathbone's unreal, as we've already mentioned, and John C thinks Danny Rotherham will win.
I'm not saying we'll lose. I'm saying something will happen that'll catch us out.
What do you think about Shane Ferguson, Will? Because he has a fitness issue with this recurring foot injury, and to play full 90 minutes on Tuesday and full minutes on Saturday, that might be an area where we look to freshen up potentially. Or wait international break, can we just chuck him in for 90 minutes and let it in Northern Ireland's problem?
I mean, it's a good question for me. If Cheltenham are going to be a side that are going to sit off, where we're going to have possession, where we're going to need to unlock a door, Shane Ferguson has to be inside because of his ability with the ball to get crosses in, to cause problems from that aspect. And I guess, it could be a case of maybe giving him 60 minutes and hopefully, we've got a decent lead by that point. We can fetch Talaji on who can sail the ship home. But yeah, for me, he's one of our best creative outlets. So he would be one of the first players on my team sheet at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. If he can play, if he's fit enough for an hour or so, I would definitely sign him. I agree. Danny, any changes for you other than the obvious?
No, other than the obvious, I'd say like Mick says, Wiles in for Lindsay if his dead leg's gone, and I'd go a similar route to the way we went on Tuesday. Like if a certain players blow in, like Ferguson, if his injury's playing up, or Grigg or whatever, just bring on the light for light replacement. I don't think there's any need to completely change tactics unless something dreadful has happened, which I can't see happening. Like Fleetwood sort of dreadful. I'd say keep it the same as much as you can, because why would you change your winning formula?
Yeah. It's quite a big game because of the international break, but then you look at the run of fixtures after the international break. We are going to wrap up because we've gone over an hour, but this month we've got Cheltenham, we've then got Portsmouth at home, Wickham at home, MK Dons away, and Sunderland at home, and maybe Cheltenham to reschedule sometime within that month as well. It could be a massive month. We come out of that with a good haul of points. We're going to be in a fantastic position, but then we could also come out with not many points. Yeah, let's wait and see. Any more for any more? Any chats or points anyone wants to make?
If we beat Cheltenham, we go 5 unbeaten.
Good start of a good run.
Yeah, it's the sort of run you want before facing all those teams at the end of the month as well.
Just very, very quickly on Harding. I know we're running over significantly, but I think one of the reasons that he's possibly not had the start that he wanted to the season is because he's played so many games at the end of last season, then gone away and had all the games that he played for Jamaica. And the poor lad has just been playing football for so long that, the mental fatigue sort of jumps in. So if I'm honest, I'm quite glad that he's not being called up, just to give him a little bit of headspace to do what he needs to do, chill out a little bit, and I think we might see a different player after international break. But I guess that's a different conversation to have for down the line.
Yeah. So because we've got to be around Wes Harding, he was a championship player and we weren't playing for 6 months, so he only had a month between seasons last year, whereas we all had 6 months. So, like I said, not much rest. Thank you all for watching on YouTube. If you listen, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you can. If you're watching on iTunes, make sure you subscribe and give us a 5-star rating, because we do really appreciate that. We shall be back on Sunday night, back live on YouTube, and back on Monday morning for the podcast, where we'll be looking back at Cheltenham, and we'll have a small preview of the Pizza Trophy on Tuesday, because it's on. That's it, really. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Will. It's been a pleasure to have you with us again, mate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And as always, check out Tivoli View. The preview will be up on Friday evening sometime. Is that right, mate?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So keep an eye on follow at Tivoli View on Twitter if you aren't already. And Danny, always a pleasure. Safe travels on Saturday, and keep an eye out for Danny's matchday vlog out early next week.
Yep, that should be out hopefully it'll be out relatively early. Always a pleasure to rant on about football for just over an hour.
Exactly, that's what we're here for. And Mick, always a pleasure.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Freddie's finished. Shoot. Can take a shot. Yeah!